Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. I am going to try to make some mixed media tags for a couple journals that I'm making right now. One of them is very bright, and one of them is kind of these vintagey Roman looking colors. I say Roman because there's a lot of cathedral things in this book. Well, there will be. I say that. It's coming from a Florence book. And so the colors are very different, but I think I can make some mixed media for both of them. I've made these cards. Some are good, some are horrible. These are fails. These are not too bad. I thought I would try to do some on camera with tags. I'm not very good at it, so I hated to make a video on it, but I'm gonna try. I found some cardstock in the scrap things that I had gotten from the secondhand shop a long time ago, and I noticed these, and I don't know if that's inking or paint around the edges, but I thought I would maybe use those. It seems like it's a heavier kind of cardstock, so I might make just cards out of those, and then I have some normal cardstock here that I thought we could make some tags. So I think I'm going to start with the brighter one first. Distress. Is that a word? Distress inks. These are shimmer sprays. This is an oxide spray. This one is bubblegum pink, camp so teal, and carved pumpkin. So let's see what we can get from this. I'm going to just spray it on my mat here. Add a little water and smudge it. I'm trying to decide if I want the textured side or the plain side. I think I'm going to go with the textured. Ooh, that's pretty, isn't it? Let's do a couple more. I think I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on this and also maybe some markings. I have some Art by Marlene stamps I think I'm going to use. Instead of using archival ink, I'm going to use acrylic paint. So I'm just going to put a little bit down on my mat here and kind of take my finger and thin it down so that I can just stamp on it. I think the acrylic shows up better for me than just using the archival inks. If you wipe your stamps off fairly quickly with a baby wipe, the acrylic paint doesn't bother them at all. And it comes right off. On this one, going to maybe use one of the die cuts from the Art by Marlene. So I think I'm going to pick a die cut from it for this one. Now I'm going to wet my pencil, and I'm just going to go around this sleeve. Just using a blue gel pen to make random markings. I actually wanted a black one, but I couldn't find it, so I made do with the blue. Right now, I'm just going to use some of the die cuts from the Art by Marlene book to finish them off. You'll also see later on that I wasn't happy with the bright blue, so I went over it with my black watercolor pencil. Now I'm going to start on the next three cards for my smaller journal, the vintage Roman looking journal. I'm just making some random markings on one of the cards just to see how it will turn out with a black gel pen. You'll see these words I'm getting ready to write become a real nuisance later on. I think I wrote love, live, travel. No, love, laugh, travel. And I really make a mess of them later on. The colors I have are forest moss, mahogany, it's kind of a dark color, gathered twigs, Victorian Velvet, and Wild Honey. And these are distress oxide inks, so they're water soluble. So I'll smush them on my ink pad and spritz them with water and then smush them onto my paper. So I'm just random smushing on the different colors, the forest green, the Victorian velvet. Here's the gathered twig. This is the wild honey. And I'm learning that as I'm smushing it, I can use my finger to blend it in a little bit better with some water, and I like the looks of that. It gave it a little smoother color transition when blending it with my fingers. This is the beginning of the mess I'm about to make with these words. I'm going over it with my watercolor pencil to try to make it stand out a little better. And I realize, okay, it's way too bright now because it's on top of these very muted colors. And I just keep fixing and fixing. So stay with me, it gets better. Trust me, that will not be the last you see of that card. Okay, so now I'm going to use my same technique with stamping with using the acrylic paint on the next card. And much to my surprise, this one actually turned out pretty. This one I decided to do some number stamping on. And those actually turned out really well too. I liked that aged look they have. For the next step on this card, I'm going to do some stenciling with that acrylic paint. This is a numbers kind of stencil, and it also has the months listed on it, so I thought I would use some of those. And it starts out really wonderful, and then as I get greedy and want to do more at the bottom, it becomes kind of thick and not very clear. But that's okay because, again, like the other card, I will salvage it at the end. In the meantime, I'm just making some random marks with the end of that sponge on each of these cards with their acrylic paint. This next technique is kind of fun. You use your scoring tool with the rounded ends and just dip it into the acrylic paint and then just make random dots. Of course, your scoring tool has two different ends, so there's a large and a small, and it gives it a little bit more texture, a little bit more depth. I liked it. I used it on all of the cards. So I'm turning my attention back to this poor card. I've decided I need to work on it some more and see how bad I can mess it up. I'm taking some gesso with my finger and just trying to blend it over those words and decide I'm just going to cover them up. And the more I blended, the worse it got. I think I'm going to end up liking that. I've done some things to it. Of course, as you just saw, I gessoed over it. And then I went back and took up some of the gesso so you can see it. It's like in a fog, and I like it. I think what I'm going to do is after it dries, I'm probably going to come back with some of the color and see what I can do with that. I've made a mess of it. I mean, I'm not going to lose anything by doing other things. So I think I'll keep messing with that at some point. Now I think I'm going to put a little bit of gesso on this one for whatever I'm thinking I'm going to do with it later. Just to give it a little bit of that foggy look. I don't know that this one really needs too much, but I like it, and I'm going to put it on there. Okay, so I liked how it looked when I gessoed over the other piece and then dabbed some of it off. So I'm going to try that method on this one where the months kind of got blurred and, again, I worked on it so much it just kind of become a big mess like the other one, but we're going to fix it. Just stay with me. So the one piece I was proud of and really liked, I decided to keep messing with, and I'm using some of this sepia archival ink and just lightly stamping some words in the background. I'm thinking this is going to be one of those that I'm going to want to put some muslin and maybe some string and do a little cluster right here. Happy with how these are turning out. I know that right now it doesn't look like much, but I think it's going to turn out good. So I'm just going to take some of the black archival ink and put some background words on the other two pieces. Okay, so I have let these set overnight, and I'm, like I said, a lot of times when I come back and look at them, I see a way to fix them, or they're not as bad as I thought. And this one I had talked about maybe putting a cluster on it. I'm still going to go that way. And I've tried to find a really, really flat button. So I'm just going to glue that on real quick. And I think we'll call this one done. I'll probably round the corners. I don't know. I hate to, because this is the one they painted around the edge or whatever. So I may not round the corners. May leave that one just as it is. I thought on these, maybe this, I could put a little color back into here. And then I also found some washi tapes that I may try to blend in a little bit as some background. Again, I may end up just making a cluster out of this, but I'm going to give it one more try. I'm using the forest moss, gathered twigs, and wild honey to add some color back into these. I am just using some water on an ink pad and smushing it, and also using my finger to blend in the colors. I'm just slightly going over the words with my watercolor pencil, and I'm going to start using some washi tape to fill in some spots, tearing off the pieces that I like, not using the whole strip. I'm putting this down with a mixture of water and glue. I didn't want to use Mod Podge as I didn't want it to have a shiny finish. This washi tape has some map on it, so I thought the map would be good with the theme of the journal, which is kind of a travel theme. If you hung in with me to the end, thank you. I know that there were parts of this video that were totally painful. I'm sure that some were hollering, stop, you're going to ruin it. And I did many times. But I do think these came out. I will probably, as I put them in books, will embellish more. Like I may sew around some. I may make some, the noisy ones where you put them on packing paper and different sound things. But I do think that these three turned out for the journal that I'm wanting to put them in. I think that the washi tape really helped, and the adding the different colors helped with the ruination ruination of these words. But I like how it turned out. I do think it's pretty. And just out of curiosity, like, I like the back of these where it has all the colors, and if it were me and I were writing, I would like to write on something like this. But what do you think? Do you like that, or would you want it covered with tea-dyed paper or something? Anyway, I think those three did turn out miraculously to my liking. The other ones I thought turned out well. And again, like I said, as I decorate my journals, I'm sure I will add things to them. But at this point, I'm going to leave them like this and put them in my box to be added to journals. It turned out maybe not like I had hoped, but good enough that I will use them. I say good enough, not like I'm just, you know, I like them. I like them a lot, or I wouldn't put them in the journal. I just wanted to show you how they ended. I got some of this ribbon today, and I thought it was pretty, and I thought it would probably be a topper on one of these. So I have two questions. Would you write on something that had the painting on the back? And do you prefer rounded corners or the square corners? I'm more rounded. Anyway, thank you for hanging with me. I hope that, I doubt that you learned anything from this cluster, but maybe it was that even when you think it's completely ruined, it's still salvageable. And even if it's not, it's only paper, and you can rip it and put it in a collage of some sort, because the colors that we put on the paper will be beautiful on something else. All of that said, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I hope to do a video soon working in my art journal, and hopefully that will go better than this did. And if you have any suggestions or want to holler and say, please don't make any more like this, that's okay too. Let me know what you think. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.